Test 1, 2, testing 2. Welcome back. Welcome back. So today we're going to be doing the fire signs. It's going to be Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. I will be using my Oliver Hibbert deck. I keep it in here with the mirror. And I'll be using that mirror for scrying over on the members side of the channel immediately following this broadcast. I also am going to be using, for each of the signs, the Empyrean deck by Threads of Fate. This is a lenticular deck, so it wiggles around as you look at it. And I won't be clearing the space at the beginning of these readings this week, but I will be working that back into the videos. I'm still kind of getting adjusted from the move. If you didn't notice, I have everything set up differently. I did move house, so I'm no longer in Van Nuys, which is nice. I moved in with a close friend. And so far it's been great. It's really lovely to live in a place where you feel loved and supported, and love and support the people who live there in turn. Which I have had, and it's good to have it in this place also. It is Leo season, so some of you who are Leo sun signs might be celebrating a birthday this week. My birthday is the 14th. We're going to start with the sign of Aries. This is Aries, sun, moon, rising, any placement that you would like to know about. If it's Aries, or if you're resonating with Aries energy, or if you're a cross watcher, I invite you to set your intention for the reading, and then just allow any thoughts or ideas to rise up to the forefront of your mind that might be involved in that situation. Now, Aries, if you are feeling stress or discomfort or any kind of negative feelings, oh, hi, Bossa MC. Thank you so much, and thank you for coming by for the tarot readings today. I'm glad you're here. So if there's anything about this that's causing you discomfort or stress, I invite you to gently breathe through that energy. As you inhale, draw in divine source energy along with those oxygen molecules, and allow that oxygen to travel all the way through the electron transport chain of your mitochondria. And then when it gets to the very end of that cycle in each and every one of your cells, along with that CO2, Just release any negative thoughts, emotions, any stress, any tension, anything that you're ready to let go of. Just release it with your breath. It will return to source and it will be transmuted. All right, so, that's an interesting card. Cool. All right. And let me record your timestamp. So, Aries, let's start here in the past. Oh, Baza, I'm glad to hear that. I like to provide content that's very different from what a lot of other people are putting out there. So I'm glad that you find it interesting. So here in the past for you, Aries, we do have the Ace of Cups in the reverse. There would have been a period of time in your past where there was an emotional renewal. You could have made a connection to source. Ace of Cups can be in relation to moving along on your spiritual journey as well, getting to know the self better. It could have been a period of time where you got a lot of downloads at once. Now this card is in the reverse, in the past. So this period of time has passed for you, but it is informing the current situation. Now, Ace of Cups could also have been meeting and connecting with new people. Could have to do with your soul tribe, if that's something that you resonate with. So potentially this has to do with people coming into your life in the past, and now you've known them for some time. Here in the current situation, Aries, we have two fellow fire sign cards, and they're showing up upright. Now, this is Sagittarius and Leo energy, so what is markedly missing from this? You, Aries. But let's look at it. So we have the Temperance card. This has to do with mastery over tasks. It has to do with practice, refining one's processes. So that's what we're doing here by pouring that water back and forth between the two chalices. And of course, we have these chalices very similar to the Two of Cups, right? But here we have that we're refining that emotional process, pouring that fluid back and forth until we sort out our feelings. And that is the Temperance. That helps us to maintain a path of moderation. And we see that they have 1 foot on the land and 1 foot in the water, a lot like the Star card. But of course, on the Star card, the water's being poured out. Here, that emotional energy is conserved and refined. So this is Sagittarius's card in the Major Arcana. So right now, you could have gotten the energy, the emotional energy from this Ace of Cups that is currently being refined with the process that we're looking at with this Temperance card. That is crossed by the Sun. And the Sun is always a good card to get in a reading, whether it's reversed or upright. It basically means that good things are coming into your life. There's success, good fortune, and everything is going fairly well for you in this particular current situation, Aries. Now, of course, this is only one situation in your life. There could be other situations in your life that aren't going as well, but the Sun card coming out in the current situation is a very good predictor of success. So down here in the Imam Silai, this is where we look at the things that are going to set up for the future, all of the foundations upon which future events will take place. And the card that we have there is one of the secret arcana. It is the Venus card. Now, Venus has to do with love, does also have to do with prosperity. And I will read the meaning from the book just to make sure I get it correct. Ascending beauty, an eyeful, growth, alluring, femininity, proud, and pleasure. So potentially you could be an Aries rising. Look at what your ascendant sign is. Maybe it's also fire sign energy. And you know how the ascendant signs work. That there's at the time at which you are born, that is the sign on the horizon. So it's going to be different based on what time of day you were born. And you can track that. You can get a chart that tells you for what season. So now we're in Leo season. So at dawn, Leo would be the sign on the horizon. I believe that's how it works. From your perspective, and of course that Venus card is just kind of reinforcing that things are going very well for you in the current state. From your perspective, Aries, we see that you're coming out of a trapped energy. You're coming out of feeling stuck with the Eight of Swords reversed. So you've cleared a path for yourself. Hi, Kayla. Hi, Maria. Thank you so much for coming. It's good to see you. And from an outsider's perspective looking in, we have the shadow. And this card is in the upright. So from an outside person's perspective, lies are being revealed. Now, Aries, these could be lies that you told, but it could also be deceptions that have come from a different source that now people around you perceive that you're able to see the truth of situations. Especially because we have these very favorable cards, the Venus card and the Sun card. And, I wonder, Where is Venus right now? Hold on. So Venus is currently hold on. Okay, it looks like Venus is also in Leo for the full moon in Aquarius on August 11th, which is going to be on Thursday. And Venus will just be moving into Leo on that day from Cancer. So that's a very interesting placement coming through. So this might specifically for you, Aries, have to do temporally with the date of August 11th because of this Sun and Venus moving into the same sign. And then I'm not entirely sure if they're going to have a conjunction in Leo at some point. Let me see. And I apologize. I hope that this information brings value to you. Yeah, I don't see anything about that here. So it's likely that that the Sun and Venus will not be conjunct in Leo, but they will be in the same sign at the same time. So this coming out of a stuck situation, these lies being revealed, there could be something that comes around about that on Thursday. Here in the future, we have the tomb, and this card is showing up in the reverse. So this is going to be a potential energy that may or may not end up uprighting as we get closer to it. You know, when you are looking at a concave mirror, sometimes things look reversed, and then the closer you get, they flip back upright. And this card about the tomb, it's about releasing these secrets, all of these skeletons in the closet coming out. So we have a lot about things being revealed at this time and into the future, Aries. I'm not sure if you are harboring a lot of secrets at this time. I, of course, would not make that assumption. But that there might be a lot of hidden information around you. Yeah, so this card also in the reverse can be about possessiveness, being smothered, locked by fear, and about death. But of course, in the upright, it's about clearing your conscience before it's too late. So you can see that there's a choice that you'll be able to make moving forward. The potential is there for it to be very good, but the potential is also there for it to return you to this state of stagnation that you've just escaped. Here in the hopes and fears, have the Six of Cups. The Six of Cups is a card about things returning from the past. It is about nostalgia. The substance that has been poured out into these cups has been used to preserve these floral arrangements. So either these flowers are growing and blooming within the substance contained in these cups, or they have been cut and their stems are soaking in that substance to keep them alive or to keep them looking fresh, you know. What is this guy doing back here? Do you see that guy? Very creepy. I just noticed that guy. Because, of course, your eye is drawn to this very pleasant scene in the foreground where these two people are sharing a wonderful, tender moment, a reminder of youth. So, there could be something going on with you, Aries, and especially in relation to where you might have felt stuck for a long time, that you're hoping maybe some things will be returning from the past, or you're hoping for things in relation to childhood. There's like these childlike, like looking forward to Christmas, looking forward to your birthday because you get presents. So it could be something like that as well, where it's a very naive kind of appreciation of one's life being rejuvenated. And of course, we do have this Ace of Cups in the past, that perhaps this was a period of time where you were going through a lot of emotional renewal or meeting a lot of new people, and you're hoping to return to that kind of a lifestyle without any of the baggage that might have come along with it. Here in the midheaven, this is going to be the results of all of the beauty, and there's almost like a sense of overwhelming beauty associated with this Venus energy. It's going to throw you off balance potentially. So, in the current situation, remember we do have that Temperance card where you're practicing. You're practicing moderation, practicing pouring between the two vessels. But there could be something, especially like if things do return from the past, that could be a little offsetting for you. The Two of Pentacles can also be about your partnerships with other people. So where we have this card in the reverse, it can be that there is a partnership coming in for you that will be related to your ability to bring in material gain, but that it will be unevenly yoked. But of course, because this card is in the future, there is the potential for those things to be equalized. And I really think it has a lot to do with letting the cat out of the bag on something for you, Aries. That there are things that you are holding back, information wise, even lies by omission, possibly. Not that you're being outright duplicitous, but rather that you're not providing all of the information that someone might like to have in order to make their own choices in a situation. And that is going to throw off the equanimity of this potential partnership for you. So just be aware of that. And the final outcome card for your reading, so this is kind of like advice. This can be something to help you out in the situation. It can also provide a little extra information to tie up loose ends. We have the Moon card showing up reversed for you, Aries. And this is in opposition to where we see that lies are being revealed. So the Moon card reversed kind of reinforces this, that the best way to proceed forward is to illuminate things and not to overly obfuscate. The moon in the upright is all about obfuscation, is about the way forward being complicated and hidden. And so you're being encouraged to bring these things into the light. The moon card in the reverse can also be a reference to a dark night of the soul moment, that it would benefit you to navigate. You can, of course, choose to ignore these things, kind of brush them aside and ignore them. But in dealing with whatever this issue is, in deciding to illuminate and bring this out into the light and cope with it and deal with it, you'll be setting yourself up for much better balance in the future. Because things are pretty good right now, but things are cyclical. Things don't stay awesome forever. That's just not the nature of the universe. Because inevitably time marches forward, and we are all subject to its whims. Time marches forward and backward. The Ethereum, the Empyrean deck card that I drew for you is ether. Isn't that cool how it does that? So the ether has to do with elemental air. It's something which is not concrete. So in your reading, we're dealing a lot with these cups. The temperance card isn't necessarily a cup card, but we do still have that idea of the cups. There we have that ace of cups, we get the six of cups. And then we have a lot dealing with these more like intangible concepts. Let's see what they say in the book for the ether card. I don't know how I'm going to find it in here, but I will make it more interesting to be flipping through the book. Here we go. So, and just when you think it's nothing, it's everything. We may never be able to comprehend the idea of universal energy. Just when we think we have it, that it's the lens we now see through, it dances away from us like a flame, and we are back on the bustling streets shouting at faceless traffic. It doesn't come close to capturing the true magnitude of all that we are, of how truly connected everything and everyone is. The magic of knowing that we are the ether is having the ability to transform and expand in any given moment. It's trusting that the same atoms that make up this universe, that stretch on for eternity, that hold so much mystery and alchemy, live within us. So its companion is Earth. So Earth energy. And it has to do with the collective consciousness. has to do with our collective use of matter as well. So here we have the ethereal, we also have the concrete, and how molecules are recombined in the physical plane. So this has a lot to do with what was going on back here with this Ace of Cups for you, Aries. That would be a big part of the ether for you. And that in your particular case, in this reading, there's an emotional recombination going on. The substance being like our energies, and especially our emotional energies, that are then poured out into other people and other situations, right? So, overall, what this reading is talking about is that even though these things are not clearly defined, right? That we're talking about etheric energies, that there are truths, there are secrets hidden there, and there are things that are tangible about that experience. The way that you feel might change over time, but the way that you felt in that moment is very real and must be acknowledged. And so that is what is coming through very strongly in this reading, is a need to acknowledge and share with the relevant parties in the situation what the feelings were at a given time. And that will make it possible for all of you to move forward in a more equitable way. So that is going to conclude the Aries reading for this week. We are going to be moving on now to the sign of Leo. Happy birthday to my Leos who have birthdays this week and this month. And after this broadcast has concluded, I will be going over to the members side of the channel to do some mirror scrying. If that interests you, you're cordially invited, but your presence here on the channel is greatly appreciated in whatever form it takes. Alright, so let me shuffle the cards for you, Leo. Go ahead and set your intention. And just kind of gently allow any thoughts and ideas that are associated with that intention to rise up to the forefront of your mind, and wait there patiently while I shuffle the cards. Now, if there are any aspects of this that are causing you stress or discomfort, or are making things difficult for you, I invite you to gently breathe through those energies. So as you inhale, Leo, draw in the divine source energy in the form of oxygen molecules. Just allow that oxygen to travel through your electron transport chain in each and every one of your mitochondria. And then when we get to the very end of that, and we're releasing the CO2 from that process, just allow any of that tension, any negative emotions, any physical discomfort, just allow that to be attached to that CO2 molecule and release. And it will be returned to source, and it will be transmuted. Oh gosh, okay. Ooh. Exciting. Got exciting, exciting things coming through for you in the reading so far, Leo. Mm-hmm. Okay. And let me pull an Empyrean card for you also. Ah, interesting. Okay. And make a note of my timestamp. That Aries reading was kind of long. That's okay. I stand behind what I said. Leo, here for you in the past, we have the Lover's card in the upright. This could be a choice that you're continuing to make into the current situation, evaluating your options. This could also be a love relationship which had begun in the past and is continuing into the current situation because that card is upright. This is Gemini energy. Perhaps you have Gemini in your chart, but mostly it is about dualities. So there might be aspects in which you and this romantic partner are very opposite, and those things are being reconciled through your relationship. The Lover's card can also have to do with alchemy within the self, such that by the choices that we make, disparate parts of our personalities are integrated into each other and reconciled. So that work can be done alone, but it can also be done with another person. And so here in the current situation, we have the Five of Wands, and that's crossed by this Secret Arcana card of the mushroom. The Five of Wands is about creative competition. It could also be about romantic rivalries. It doesn't necessarily have to be, but you can see that all of the competitors here are basically at the same level. So nobody's really, doing that much better in combat than any of the other participants. They're not outright trying to kill each other, but they are in competition with each other. And all of them, I think, would certainly prefer that they be the victor. In the upright, though, this can create a fertile ground for new creative expression because people are kind of borrowing ideas from each other and recombining them in different ways, especially if we're going through these alchemical processes indicated by the Lover's card. And this card of the mushroom has to do with being guided by the stars. Psychedelic adventures like Alice in Wonderland, right? Where the fantastic and whimsical become commonplace events in your life. So these two things together, there's an indication that you are in an environment right now which would be very good for creativity and especially for creative expression. So down here in the Imam Leo, in the Imam CLI, we have the Three of Cups. And this particular card position talks about the foundations upon which your future events will be taking place. So, that foundation is a strong and close knit group of friends. That there are people around you right now who are very supportive of you and of each other. You see, these people all have very good boundaries with each other, that they are not pouring their substance out upon each other. They are not combining these cups. Each individual has their cup of their own substance and are happy to share with the others, but are not forcing that to be shared and not taking others' substance without consent. Here in the placement that talks about your perceptions of the current situation, we have the Seven of Swords. So you might be perceiving at this time, Leo, that there are people around you or there are situations that are going on, that there's a lot of subterfuge, possible betrayal, possible underhanded dealings, or that you might feel like you have to get one over on another person in order to be effective. Now, I don't think this is going to be like within your friend group. We'll talk a little bit more about this Seven of Swords when we get to its opposing position, which is the hopes and fears. Um, so, the hopes and fears that you have often affect your perceptions of the current situation. From an outside person's perspective, looking in, we have the Mirror. And this card is coming out in the upright. So let me make sure I get the meaning correct for this. In the upright, the Mirror talks about a true reflection. So there might be situations going on in your current situation. There might be stuff going on currently for you, especially in regards to this, where we have a fantastical journey, but we also have all of this creative rivalry going on and this rapid fire exchange of ideas. That you are providing a mirror for other people. Now, your perception might be that people just want to steal your ideas, but I don't think that's the totality of it. It's also that people are using your ideas in their own way and bringing their own spin to it. And maybe it falls flat. Maybe it ends up being really cool, and you in turn get inspired by that, and the cycle continues. I do think it is kind of particular to Leo traits to perceive that as someone stealing your ideas, but it's all about the perspectives overall. Maybe they are stealing your ideas. Maybe you should be stealing their ideas too. Here in the future, we have the Eight of Wands, and it's showing up in the reverse. So to me, of course, in the future, there's always the possibility that that gets reversed. Maybe there's things that you can do to speed up this process. But to me, what this card in the future might indicate is that we are kind of reaching the climax, or we're on the upward arc of the storyline right now. And that everything hasn't quite played out yet. The Eight of Wands, of course, in the reverse in the future is kind of a superfluous card in some ways, because it's like, well, of course there's going to be an ending at some point in the future, you know. So in this particular case, I take it more as like where we are in this series of events, and not quite like that potentially there is an ending closing in. But we do have other cards about endings here that lead me to believe the control over that ending is much more within your grasp than you might believe. Here in your hopes and fears, Leo, we have the Page of Pentacles reversed. And this card has to do with offers coming in and making material goods manifest and concrete for you in this realm. Now, because this card is showing up in the reverse, and it's showing up in relation to this Seven of Swords, right? Where we feel like there's subterfuge, we feel like there's backstabbing going on. That you might feel like offers are not coming into you because of some kind of betrayal or backstabbing or somebody else getting the goods that were meant for you. But this is in your hopes and fears. So that has much more to do with your perceptions of the situation overall than it does the actual truth of the situation. We have this Five of Wands. We have this Eight of Wands. We have the implication through subtraction of that Three of Wands that the sooner you're able to bring in this ending, the sooner energies will be returning to you from the past, possibly. That's a potential meaning. Not necessarily the case, but I'm not seeing anything else here to reinforce that there's any truth to this. Here in the midheaven, so this is going to be the result of what we saw here in the Imam Silai, that we have this very tight-knit friend group, good boundaries. But we have the King of Wands coming out reversed for you there, Leo. I would really watch your temper. I would really watch out for being too non-committal in physical relationships. The King of Wands in the reverse can be like deadbeat dad energy. And so there's like the two sides of the spectrum when we polarize this energy by reversing it. That on the one side of the spectrum, you could be overly passionate and inclined to angry outbursts. And in the other side of that energy, that you are kind of non-committal and you do not listen to what you're really passionate about. And therefore, you feel like you're not passionate about anything. And you don't commit in relationships. You just want to have one night stands. And so there's possibilities there for different energies. And of course, because this is in the reverse, in the future, there's the potential that this would then be made into an upright energy. King of Wands in the reverse could also be another fire sign person coming into your life, but you haven't met them yet. So that's another potential. Or that you could be coming into that energy in the future, but the means by which that will occur have not yet been assured. And it really has to do with this kind of insecurity around that Seven of Swords that you're experiencing in the current situation, Leo. The final outcome also has to do with endings. We have the Ten of Swords here. And this is in relation to being a mirror. Now, you could be reflecting any of these people. You could be reflecting these people. You could be reflecting these people. And the Three of Cups compared to like the Five of Wands is like your really close friends versus your coworkers. But remember that we also have this Lover's card in the past in the upright, such that that mirrored energy could be between you and a romantic partner. It could be two disparate parts of the self. And that you're going to need to resolve that once and for all. There's going to be an ending there, whether you like it or not. And that is going to be a definitive ending. But it doesn't necessarily mean that we're reaching the end of this particular story arc. We're just reaching the particular ending of this situation. But it does look like there's much more at play here than just whatever this Lover's card represents. Whether it's a choice, whether it's resolving two disparate parts of the self, or whether it's between you and a romantic partner. So the Empyrean card that I've drawn for you, Leo, is haze. You can kind of see somebody peeking through the clouds on this card. That's really cool. So let me see if I can find out more about this card. Haze. Like being backed into a corner, being chewed at, and feeling like you have nowhere to go. The haze can be all encompassing. The darkness can feel overwhelming and confusing, leaving us blind and grasping for straws. The pathways in our brain get stronger and stronger the more we walk them. Powerlessness becomes our primary state of being, and soon we are a race car looping around the same track, careening out of control despite trying to get better. The key is in slowing down, letting the alarms ring out in your head but not rushing to them. Before we can move forward, we have to meet ourselves where we are at. We must accept it and let ourselves hit that bottom we are trying to avoid, because the haze will bring you to your knees over and over again, begging for relief. But until we stop fighting it, we won't find it. So this is encouraging you to... There's definitely aspects of this that are being reflected. I almost get the sense it's to the point where when you make an eternity room, you have the mirrors facing each other. And it goes on into the distance. There's a resonance that you've hit, and that is going to be resolving at this time. So whatever that resonance is that you've hit, Leo, This is not a particularly eventful week for you per se, but there is going to be something that's getting resolved. But it's not the end of the story, it's just the end of this particular chapter. And hopefully it will help you understand that people are not out to take what is yours necessarily. So that is going to conclude the Leo reading for this week. I will be moving on now to the sign of Sagittarius. These readings are kind of long today. It kind of varies, I think, depending on what comes out in the cards and how I'm able to express things, like how long the readings will be. But we are moving on now to the sign of Sagittarius. So, Sagittarius, if you would, just kind of set your intention for the reading. And allow any thoughts or ideas associated with that intention to rise up to the forefront of your mind and wait there patiently while I shuffle the cards. And if there are any things about this Sagittarius that you find stressful or burdens that you're ready to lay down, or even if you're experiencing physical discomfort at this time, I invite you to gently breathe through those energies. So, as you inhale, draw in divine source energy along with the oxygen molecules. Allow those oxygen molecules to cycle through the electron transport chain in each and every one of your mitochondria. And then when we reach the end of that cycle, and you're about to release that CO2, just attach any of that negative emotion or discomfort or baggage to that CO2 molecule and release. And it will be returned to source, and it will be transmuted. All right, so and I will draw one of these Empyrean cards for you as well. Okay. Yes. Okay. This one's a little bit difficult to see on camera, but I think I can figure that out. I bumped my head. Yesterday I was leaning down and I bumped it. It's a little sore, but I don't think there's too bad of a lump there. Let me write down the timestamp, which is basically right at the 1 hour mark. All right, Sagittarius. So here in the past for you, I have the skull in the reverse. This is kind of like a memento mori card, reminding us that um, our time here is finite and that we have the option to make what we will of it, but also that nothing lasts forever. Um, Even your legacy, 200 years, 300 years into the future, what will be left? Uh, in the upright, death brings life, sacrifice, selflessness, respect, and sympathy. So it's possible that there was a period of time in your past, Sagittarius, where that was the case. And now that has resolved and you're leaving it behind. In the reverse, life brings death, ego, and apathy. So, overall, the impression that I get with the skull in the reverse in the past is that there was a period of time where things were moving out of your life. And this could have been anything from you making decisions that were removing things from your life that were no longer serving you. And this could have even been things like friendships that are very difficult to let go of. Severing ties with people that you might love them dearly, but you're not able to be around them for whatever reason. Um, it could even have been losing a loved one, um, or experiencing death in your life. Um, but that has been left behind. And now we're moving into a situation for you, Sagittarius, where the energies that you have previously put out are now returning to you with this Three of Wands. And this is crossed by the Two of Swords. So there's a choice to be made between two probably pretty comparable pathways. Um, but in order to fully experience one, you're going to have to leave the other behind. You're not going to be able to fully explore both pathways uh, at the same time. And this could be based on energies that are returning to you. So, for example, if there was a very difficult period of time, Sagittarius, where you were letting people go or you were taking the high road in a situation and that was separating you from people that you had previously been close to, um, they potentially could be changing their behaviors based on what they have seen in you. It could have also been that because of care that you gave toward the end of somebody's life, you were left an inheritance. There's a lot of potential possibilities there. And of course, it's a general reading, so we're not going to go into each and every one here, but I trust that you kind of understand what I'm talking about. Down here in the Imam Silai, so this is going to be the foundations upon which future events are built. And we have the flower in the reverse in this placement. And I often read the flower upright, but I haven't read it reversed very many times. So let me make sure. In the reverse, it is about lust, poison, deceit, and oversight. So, yeah, especially where we're talking about things that you had to sever ties with. things you might have had to walk away from, or things that, um, that there was a death there. That doesn't mean that those things go away forever. They just show up in different forms. So uh, we do have things returning from the past, and some of those things could be temptations. And that's why you're going to continue to have this choice to make. And there being some aspects of corruption here in the current situation. For you, Sagittarius, there is a victory coming through. The Six of Wands is very much like the minor arcana analog of the Chariot card. So we have mobility depicted, this person on horseback. And we also have that victory, that they're having this parade. So there is a victory for you in some sense, that perhaps there are aspects of this that you have conquered within yourself, and therefore are no longer presenting issues for you. There could also be the fact that things are returning from the past. You see that as a victory. Or having conquered certain aspects of death within yourself. That's also a possibility. From an outside person's perspective looking in, we have the Knight of Pentacles. So this is fire of earth energy, and it has to do with financial resources either charging in to greet you, or as is the case when this card is reversed sometimes, that money is either going out more quickly than it's coming in, or it just isn't coming in very quickly for you at all. That is what people perceive about your current situation. And it could have to do with this corruption, this lust, this deceit that we see with the flower here. There could be some kind of corruption at your job, and so people are not getting paid what they deserve to be paid. That is a possibility. Or that the people around you perceive that you are willing to take care of them, and so they're taking advantage of your kindness. That's another possibility. Here in the future, we have the Ace of Pentacles, and this is all about new financial beginnings. This is the foundation upon which we eventually get to that generational wealth of the Ten of Pentacles. So this is pure earth elemental energy, very grounding energy. So there's going to be a grounding for you. We have had a lot of active energies here in the cards with these wands and swords. So more about the sublimation process than about the concrete. So where we have this Ace of Pentacles in the future, there's going to be a grounding process for you. And that might take the form of new material resources coming in. Here in the hopes and fears, we have the Wheel of Fortune, and it's showing up reversed. You're basically just afraid, Sagittarius, that fortune is going to turn against your favor, especially where you perceive in the current situation this victory occurring. That your luck will not hold out. But I don't think this is that kind of situation. This is not the kind of situation where we're relying on luck. This is the kind of situation where we are correcting ills. And we see that very clearly here with the skull in the past and with the flower in the current situation. And the Two of Swords is a binary choice, but this could be a binary choice that you make every single day. That's one of the things that they say about sobriety, is that it is a choice that you often have to make every single day. But it could be the choice to get out of bed. It could be the choice to go to work. Oh, hi, Belby. Thank you for coming. I hope you enjoy the reading. So let's talk about the midheaven. This is going to be the result of where we see lust and corruption in the current situation. We have the Page of Wands. And this Page of Wands energy is showing up in the upright. This can very much be aligned with your energy, Sagittarius. We have Earth of Fire energy. So manifesting our passions in the corporeal plane, in the physical world. And the Page of Wands is a very kind of, it's a passionate energy, but it's not a very serious energy. So there can be aspects of this that are prone to dilettante behaviors, kind of being overly enthusiastic, but not overly committed. But this card showing up in the upright is actually quite good for new beginnings, and especially where we're having this very grounding energy of the Ace of Pentacles coming through. That there's the potential that even though some aspects of this are very difficult to deal with or are a little bit complicated, that because you're able to navigate that corruption, that it leads to a new beginning to passions for you. This can even be a new physical relationship with another person. But that's not necessarily the case. It could be related to this victory also. These figures are dressed very similarly, so that even though this figure is on horseback, he's not necessarily dressed like a knight. He's dressed more like the page. And we're seeing a renewal of that creative energy in you, Sagittarius, and potentially a return to the self. So we're not seeing, we already got the Temperance card in one of the other fire sign readings, but we are seeing you show up in this reading with the Six of Wands and again with the Page of Wands. That Page of Wands, too, being Earth of Fire, is going to compound that grounding energy of the Ace of Pentacles. So getting very grounded, it's kind of the opposite of this Knight of Pentacles energy, right? This is fire of earth, whereas the Page of Wands is earth of fire. So people in the current situation might perceive that you're a little backward at this time, but it looks like that will be rectifying. The final outcome card for you in this reading, Sagittarius, is the World, and it's showing up reversed. So the advice is to take your time with these things, I think. And also to realize that this particular cycle has not yet come fully around. That World card is concretion. The World card is cycles completing. It is a fixed sign energy card. It is a Saturn card. So you know that Saturn is a very protective energy because it's so stable. And this figure in the center of the card being that ever swirling mist, that ever turning orb that we call home. But this card being reversed, the end has not yet come. That resolution is not complete. And in fact, this Ace of Pentacles is going to mark the beginning of a new cycle. So I don't know if we're really going to get a completion between the end of this previous cycle with the skull, what that represents for you, and with the beginning of a new cycle. And that new cycle is going to be tied to financial or material resources, and it's also going to be tied to your passions. So that's very good. It's interesting too that your fear was the Wheel of Fortune reversed, that fortune would be turning against your favor. The Wheel of Fortune and the World are very similar cards. The Wheel of Fortune is about the continuity of the cyclical nature of things. And that's why the fixed signs show up on this card. And then the World, of course, being about the continuity of completion and how cycles ending is a continuous narrative. But neither of those things are going to be occurring for you in the foreseeable future, Sagittarius. And there's something interesting that happens with the resonance and the vibration of situations and the way that emotional energies and the energies tied to your passions, especially, the way that those things are able to stack up when the cycle is not completed, when the cycle is not finalized out. And so the card that I drew for you out of the Empyrean deck is the Amplify card. Let me see if I can. Sometimes it doesn't want to focus on this card. Now, sometimes with amplification, there's also noise. So you can do things to refine that signal. And here we already see a multiplication, right? Between the Three of Wands and the Six of Wands. I do think this Page of Wands is coming through because it's imploring you to multiply your passions at this time, amplify your passions. And that is what is going to lead to this new cycle of abundance for you and this grounding, Sagittarius. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much for joining me today for the fire sign readings. I will be going now over to the member side of the channel to do some mirror scrying. If that interests you, you are cordially invited. If you are a channel member and you go over to the members live streams, I will also do like tarot readings for you if you have questions. There's no pressure, of course, but you're cordially invited. But your presence here on the channel is greatly appreciated in whatever form it takes. Thank you, 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 thank you. So I hope that all of you fire signs have an awesome week. All of you Leos, sun signs, who are celebrating